Hello and welcome to today's class of English. In today's class, we'll begin a new chapter. It's a poem. The poem is short, has some ideas which you will be able to connect, and at the end of the poem, there's a very deep idea that the poet is trying to connect with his own life, which is kind of a sad thing, but reading poems makes one's more sensitive to what other people may think. But do remember, I'll explain the poem right now, but it's very important that you read the poem yourself. I'll have a quick recitation and I'll move forward to the explanation. I hope it makes sense. I hope you patiently hear through this video. Don't just stop it right away in the middle because it's so boring. It's not. You basically have to understand the poem. Give it a few minutes to really get inside your head. So I'll start the recitation of the poem first very quickly. The poem is called Rain on the Roof, and this poem is there right after your previous chapter which we discussed. It's called The Little Girl. Remember, we just discussed about the girl and her relationship with her father. So this is the poem just after it. It's called Rain on the Roof. It asks, the poem starts with the question that you should be able to ask, and I think with the weather that we have these days, it kind of makes sense. The question over here reads, when the sky is covered with dark clouds and it starts raining, which is happening these days, have you ever listened to the patter or soft rain on the roof? So if you live in a building like mine, where there are other floors above you and you don't get to hear the patter of the rain, that's a different thing. But some people might regularly get the sound, not if not from the roof, you can get it from around. You can kind of hear that it's raining, you can get a sound. So have you heard the sound? Have you ever taken note, oh, that's the sound of rain? I'm sure you have. uh, and when you hear it, what thoughts do come to your mind? This poem is about the thoughts that came to the poet's mind. And I tell you, it's not just, oh, rains, wonderful. It's not something like that. The poem does end with a very serious note. I'll read the poem out. When the humid shadows hover over all the starry spheres, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. Please take note that spheres rhyme with tears, but hover does not rhyme with darkness. So you have to read, this line at one. I mean, sorry, just a moment. You have to read these two lines at one go, at one breath, and then you have to write the next two lines at one go. And this is the way you should be reading the entire poem to get the rhythm out of it. There's a certain rhythm to it. Okay. When the humid shadows hover over all the starry spheres, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. What a bliss to press the pillow of a cottage chamber bed and lie listening to the patter of the soft rain overhead. Every tinkle on the shingles has an echo in the heart, and a thousand dreamy fancies into busy being start, and a thousand recollections weave their air threads into woof, and I listen to the pattern of the rain upon the roof. The last paragraph, which has kind of the entire meaning of the poem. Now in memory comes my mother as she used in years agone. You may not be familiar with this word, agone. It basically means agone, years gone by. Now in memory comes my mother as she used in years agone to regard the darling dreamers ere she left them till the dawn. In this case, the word ere means before. It's an old English word. To regard the darling dreamers ere she left them till the dawn. Oh, I feel her fond look on me as I listen to this refrain, which is played upon the shingles by the patter of the rain. Uh, the poem may not have made any sense to you. Give me a few moments. I'll try to explain. You can see refrain rhymes with rain. Okay. Agone rhymes with dawn. Let's move forward with the explanation of this poem. Right. Rain on the Roof, written by Coates Skinny. Now, in this first stanza, the poet says what he enjoys or maybe you could say what he enjoyed before doing when it rained, when there were humid showers, when the humid shadows hover, hovering around, moving around, shadows, which means the clouds, over all these starry spheres. So the starry sphere means round, something round, starry. So he talks about the rain at the night time. All right. So this rain, he does not talk about the daytime, but he talks about the night time. The starry sphere, lots of stars. You can understand what the starry sphere is. And the melancholy darkness. Melancholy means kind of boring. Okay. Melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. So all the darkness, the melancholy dark sky, then it weeps. He feels that, some people say that God is watering his earth when it rains. Some people say that the sky is weeping because the sky is sad. People have their own ideas. What a bliss to press the pillow. Whenever these things happen, when on the dark starry sky shadows come, clouds come, and in their rain, bliss means to be, what a bliss, what happiness. It gives him so much pleasure to take his pillow in his bed and just lay down and listen to the sound of the rain. Personally, if you ask me, I love doing this. All right, when it rains, just go to your bed and relax and just listen to the sound, enjoy the rain. In the second stanza, he says what happens in his mind. All right, the first stanza he said what he feels and what he likes doing. Second stanza, he says what he thinks when he's laying down. Now you can imagine, now he's lying on his bed and he's thinking all these things. Every tinkle on the shingles, every drop which falls on earth has an echo in the heart. Every drop that he gets to hear has kind of an echo. You know what an echo is? When you go by the hills and you shout out your name and your sound echoes back, or if you have a dark room, a closed room with no furniture, your sound kind of echoes. So that's an echo. Right, just a moment. Okay. And 1,000 dreamy fancies into busy being start. And lots of dreams, 1,000 dreamy fancies, lots of dreams, they start coming in, which by this he refers that, one starts going to sleep. And 1,000 recollections. Recollection is an important word over here. The word recollection meaning, you think about the old thoughts, something that happened to you before, and you recollect, you rethink about something. And 1,000 recollections weave air threads into woof. Air threads. What's an air thread? My shirt is made of lots of threads, right? Air threads in this case talks about the clouds. Here the air threads, the and 1,000 recollection weave their air threads into woof. Woof is referring to, it's a sound or a reference to a dog. You can take it in any way. So all the recollections are there, he says, are in the cloud. All right. As I listen to the patter of the rain upon the roof. So he thinks about how the sound of the droplets have an echo in his heart, and how all the water falling down brings recollection in his head, brings him thoughts. Now, question is, what thought? What does he recollect? Now, here comes the sad part of the poem. Okay. Now, in memory comes my mother. So, in his recollection, he thinks about his mother. And when he says, now in memory comes my mother, it's very obvious to us that his mother is not with him. Maybe she's in a different city who he hasn't met for many months or years. Or maybe she has left, she has passed. She is living no more. Either of them is possible. But then he thinks about his mother who is not there with him. Now he's a grown up man, right? He thinks about his mother, and then he says, as she used in years agone. As I've told you, the years agone means gone by. To regard the darling dreamers, ere she left them till dawn, which means, whenever there was rain, she really used to help him dream. So he thinks about the good ideas that his mother put in his head. Basically, he's missing his mom. It's raining, and he thinks about the things that he did as a child and how his mother was around him, and he misses her. Oh, I feel her fond look on me. I really feel that she's looking on me. As I list on this refrain, he says, as I say this, what I'm saying now, that I'm sad, that I miss my mother, and I think how she used to take care of me when it rained. when she used to encourage me dream. I think she's looking upon me. I can feel her look on me, which is played upon the shingles by the patter of the rain. As he says, as the rain goes on and on, falls on and on, he thinks that it's probably his mother who, try to collect this last idea in this poem. He has his childhood ideas, his childhood dreams, where his mother is a very comfortable person, and now the rains are recollecting him, helping him think about those childhood days. That is the crux of the poem. This is what the poet is trying to say through this entire poem. He's basically trying to express a feeling. Don't you think connecting rain with the mother and his childhood dreams is a very nice way of sharing a deep thought? I hope you did like the poem. I hope you could, connect both the ideas of his childhood dream, his childhood thoughts, with the idea of his mother and rain. How rain is, the rain and the ideas. Now that he's grown up, now that his mother is not around, but whenever it rains, he thinks about what happened when it rained and he was a child. This is an important connection in the poem. Okay, it's raining now. He's a grown-up man, and then he thinks about the when it rained when he was not a grown-up man, when his mother was around him. This is the basic idea of the poem. I hope the poem made some sense to you. I hope you had a good time. I hope you understood it. I hope you connected with it. Make sure you read the poem, and we'll move forward with the questions and answers later on.